Hola amigos, bienvenidos a Singing Señorita. So it's been a while since I've made a video because the beginning of school has been very busy. I'm sure you know all about that. But we are currently at the tail end of our fall break, so I'm just going to take this time to share with you what I'm going to be doing in my classes when we return. So we just started our chapter that is about what we do after school, extracurricular activities. But first I wanted to review some Spanish vocabulary because they're going to be talking about what they're doing after school. So what I'm doing is I'm taking my Spanish 1 pages that talked about the different places. I cut up the pictures and the words that are from my label and activity pack. So they'll just have a picture, and then they'll also have some vocabulary words. So first thing we're gonna do is I'm just gonna have the groups just race to see who can match up the pictures and the words first. And then I'm gonna have them turn them all over, play a quick game of match just to get their brains refreshed on that Spanish 1 vocabulary. And then because they're already in groups and we're doing activities, I have already given them their vocabulary because that's what we did right before fall break. They just wrote down their list. But I want to refresh them on that. So what they're going to do is a little jigsaw puzzle. So this has Spanish and English vocabulary that they have to match. So all I do is I stick it in an envelope and then I cut the little pieces out, and I'm going to make it a competition also. So we're going to make Monday an exciting competition day. And then I'm going to wrap it up by having different puzzles available. So they could do a word search on the vocabulary. They could do a crossword puzzle, or if they prefer, they could do the jumbled word puzzle. So they get to choose which one they do, but it's just a way for them to practice the vocabulary because at the end of the week, they'll be having a quiz. Then what I'm doing on Tuesday, I'm going to be reviewing again from Spanish 1 how to answer 2 questions because we're still reinforcing those things, making sure that across the board students understand how to do those skills from Spanish 1. So answering questions is an important skill that they need to know. So all I did is I made personal questions in the 2 form with their new vocabulary from the extracurricular activities. We're going to go over how to do it. We're going to do some practice, and then I'm going to let the students answer these questions. And then I'm going to have them turn and talk with each other and just have a little conversation with a few students in class. And that should wrap up day 2. On day 3, that was practice for the next activity we will do, which I have a PowerPoint, and I call this activity talking stickers. So I'll give students a sticker as they walk in the room. In the middle of each group, there will be a little 4 square that has 1, 2, 3, and 4. So as we go through the presentation has questions such as, do you prefer this activity or that activity? And I'll ask the question, I'll tell them what I prefer, so they're still getting to know me. And then they're getting to know their classmates still because I put them in brand new groups. As they are talking through which they prefer, they are getting to know each other. And in the little 4 square, as they're talking, they lay down a sticker. That way, when I walk by, I know if there are 4 stickers on the chart, then everybody in the group has answered and I can move on to the next question. And I'll pop a little example of one of the slides up here so you can see what I'm talking about. Then the next day, we're still working on those 2 questions. I like to reinforce things a lot to make sure, especially coming out of Spanish 1 into Spanish 2, that those skills are solid before we move into more complicated Spanish 2 grammars. So we'll review about answering 2 questions, and this is what I call human bingo. So they've got questions on here using their vocabulary, such as ¿te gusta el ajedrez? ¿Te gustan las artes marciales? And what they're doing, they have to walk around asking their classmates these questions, and they can only write down the names of the people that say sí, and they are trying to get a bingo some way on the sheet. So it's just a fun little way for them to learn to talk to each other and have little conversations. And then all of that is practice for Friday, which will be their vocabulary quiz. So the whole week is geared with practicing the vocabulary and practicing the different stages of answering questions, and we slowly get more complicated as we go through the week. And then on the quiz, I will include some personal questions. So that is week 1. Stay tuned. Next week, I'm going to give you a video on what I'm doing for part 2 of the same vocabulary. So I hope you have an awesome day. I hope you've got some ideas here that you can use for your own classroom. Adios!